Well, here we go with another one. Welcome back to another episode of Peril Outdoors, and welcome back to the F-250. We're going to do another video here. If you can tell, we're in a new location because I am in the middle of moving to a new house and at the moment have nowhere to have the truck. So we are here at my workshop back in the back lot, and today in this video we're going to go over that wiring we talked about on the alternator and the voltage regulator, probably install some mud flaps on this thing, and probably install the radiator and maybe bleed the clutch and a few other things. So let's get started on those mud flaps. So I've got some vintage, new old stock Idaho mud flaps that we're gonna put on the back of this. Back in the day it always had them on. I think it looks really good, and we're gonna attach them back here. In the old times, my dad used to drill through the bumper. I wasn't a big fan of that, especially with this nice chrome bumper. So what we're going to do is we have a piece of angle iron here. I don't know if you can see it here with the shadows underneath the bumper that we're going to bolt down through the old hitch bolt here, and then we'll drill holes in the sides and have it all hidden under the bumper and make it look nice. So we'll get started on this and kind of show you the process of how I plan on doing this. So I'm doing the original hitch bolt here on the bumper, but this bumper only had one. So what I'm doing now is just adding a couple more on here. That way it has good support and it will stop it from swaying side to side as we're going down the road. So what I think I'll do next is make sure it's square on both sides exactly where we want, and then mark the holes down through onto the angle iron we're putting in, and then go ahead and drill it off the truck. I think it'll be a little bit easier that way. Alright, now we got it off the truck. We'll go ahead and get these holes drilled, and I think I decided we're going to go ahead and attach the mud flaps off the truck too, and then put the whole piece on in one big unit. I think that'll be the easiest way to get this all done. Alright, now that we got all the mud flaps on the thing here, let's go ahead and get it installed on the back of the truck and get everything tightened down. Okay, we got them started, so let's go ahead and get them tightened down. Alrighty, that should do them all. I already got the other one done on the ground, and with that we now have era correct mud flaps on this truck. I think it's going to look great going down the road. I guess next we'll move on to the alternator and voltage regulator wiring and get that done, and then see what comes next. Right now we are working on getting this alternator and the voltage regulator wired up and get this system so it'll charge. So what we're doing right now is I'm trying to follow where these wires should go. I redid the entire system on this and got rid of a lot of the factory gauges and got rid of that factory computer. So we're just going to hardwire this in, and from what I understand is I should be able to take a cable, which I've got started here. We're going to run it from the battery post there up here to the starter solenoid, and then we're going to run from F down here on the alternator to F on our voltage regulator, S to there, S to here, and then we'll be able to run one to the ignition. So we'll get this wired up and figure out if it's going to work or not. Alright, now that we got that voltage regulator and alternator kind of wired in, we're going to go ahead and drill some holes, put this radiator in. I used a different core support from a different truck, so it doesn't quite match up to the radiator I have. But what we're going to do is just drill some holes and then use some big self-tappers to hold that radiator on the top, and then put the actual brackets on the bottom. It should sit in there just fine. Then I ended up getting rid of the original clutch fan on this. I just didn't like it, and I'm going to decide to eventually go with an electric fan and tie it into the thermostat so it kicks on at a certain temperature and then kicks back off on its own. So let's go ahead and get these drilled and get these self-tappers in. Okay, those are drilled, so let's go ahead and get the radiator in and get it tied in there. This cute little tiny one core here for this inline 6. Not much radiator to it. So I didn't have the right bit and I just hooked that to the drill. We'll go ahead and tighten these down with a ratchet and then move on to something else because the radiator is going to be about done. So I decided next, instead of getting the clutch bled, we're going to go ahead and put on this old bug visor I got. Another classic 80s accessory for an 80s truck. So I got some custom brackets built to kind of raise it up a little bit. We'll go ahead and get those put on and get this bug shield on. question is, can we close the hood, or are those going to be in the way? Guess we'll find out. Alright, I think the hood's going to shut. So we're going to go ahead and drill the holes in those brackets and get that visor mounted up here. Okay, let's get this thing on. Okay, well there's the front too, and that's what she's going to look like. We got 2 more to put on, and then she's ready to roll. At this point I ran out of time with my move, so I got some good pictures with the bug visor and the mud flaps on, and then I put on some JB Weld fiberglass repair here on this topper right here. And then in this picture I sanded it down and kind of show you the final process before paint. And I think with that we're going to go ahead and wrap this one up. I got the truck loaded on the trailer here and ready to take it over to the new house. Lucky enough to get a house with some inside workspace, so should be a little easier to do some of the other projects, but we'll catch back up when we get it over there. Once again, please like and subscribe, and tell a friend about a video, and keep watching. We'll catch you next time.